Hello, everybody. Good to see y'all tonight. If you haven't figured it out yet, I am in a slightly different spot. Hopefully, we are all working. I am in the process of transferring over to my what we like to call studio office, if you will. That studio, one word, the O is capitalized. There's only one O. By the way, it's a name that I have not copyrighted, but I'm sure somebody has or will someday if they know what they're talking about. Shout out to my friends Terry Weaver and McNair Wilson. So tonight we're going to be talking a lot about one of my favorite subjects at Disney's Hollywood Studios. And before we get into that, I would love it if you wouldn't. If you wouldn't no, if you would actually share this feed on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you happen to be watching it. Thank you so much for your weekly support. Oh, by the way, this is going to be our last regular show before the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World next Tuesday, September 28th. We have something special that's going to be coming that I teased a little bit last week that I'll be mentioning here in just a little bit, right at the end when we talk about the news. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Looks like we have some folks popping on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, I'm in what used to be my 2-year-old's room. We've turned it into an office. If I turn the camera around, you would actually see my wife's desk, her kind of shop, if you will, that she's got going on. She does a lot of custom artwork, different custom vinyl pieces, original patterns and earrings and all the things. She's super talented and has done a lot. You can see Mickey and Oswald right behind me there. They will be up on the wall soon enough. All right, so let's get started, shall we? Tonight, this is Travel Tips Tuesday, and it is September the 21st, 2021. And our question of the day is, name your favorite nighttime spot in Walt Disney World. Name your favorite nighttime spot in Walt Disney World. Now, when we ask a question like this, for some of you, you may think grown-ups, what we do late at night, where we like to hang out and party and just sort of, let our hair down, just hang loose and have a good time. For some of you, that may be in the parks, more of a chill kind of thing. So let me know, where is your favorite nighttime spot at Walt Disney World? I would love to hear from you tonight. Got some of you popping on. Thank you so much. Would love have some questions too, which is awesome. So if you do have any specific questions, by the way, and it's not the question of the day, please drop those in the comments. I will be answering those as we come along. Would love to kind of educate you along the way and let you know as much as I know. And if I don't know the answer, I will definitely find out. But again, the question of the day is, name your favorite nighttime spot in Walt Disney World. We will be coming back to some of those answers here in just a little bit. So thank you all so much for joining me on this show. Let's get into some Disney news. First and foremost, yesterday, very early in the morning at approximately 4:38 Central Time, to be exact, advanced reservations for Space 220 opened up at Epcot. This is the brand new kind of price fixed restaurant experience where it's like you're dining 220 miles up. The restaurant is located right next to Mission Space in Epcot. Has an amazing menu for good things about the food so far. A lot of people dining there. I tried to secure some reservations for myself and for my clients. I was on my way to my computer at 4:40 a.m. Reservations normally drop at 5 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Eastern. So I was on my way to my computer at 4:40 a.m. because I'm like, they're probably going to drop them 15 minutes early or whatever. Well, I was mistaken. They dropped them at about a couple of minutes before I got there. By the time I sat down and logged on, pretty much everything was gone that I wanted. So there were lots of travel agents up that were not only working for themselves and clients, but many, many other people. And shout out to my fellow Travelmation agent, Levi, who was able to grab sort of reservations and had some availability, and is going to allow myself and one of my friends that will be down there to dine with him at Epcot. So you'll be able to get my feedback, hopefully, after we dine at Space 220 here in a little over a week. So looking forward to that experience. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, some other Disney news that has been rolling down the pipeline over the past few days is that there's a vault collection of inspired merchandise. So Disney has taken some of their merchandise of yesteryear and sort of rethemed it, tweaked it a little bit, and used some of those original themings, kind of like they did in a way with the new annual pass sort of logo. If you've seen kind of the yellow framed logo was sort of the more classic-ish looking Mickey Mouse for annual pass holders that's out there now. Sort of that kind of idea, but with a 50th anniversary twist to it. That merchandise will be available in Magic Kingdom at the Emporium, of course, and kind of sprinkled about, and also at Disney Springs. And there's been a lot of this merchandise is constantly coming. So if you're there now or you're going and you're worried if there's going to be some out there when you're there, like you're looking for a particular item and that kind of thing, they're constantly refreshing themselves. So if you show up and it's not there, when you're looking for a particular thing, come back later on the day, maybe once or twice, and hopefully it'll be restocked, whatever you may be looking for, whether it's a backpack, a tumbler, a shirt, or a keychain, because they're always going to have keychains for stuff, I suppose. But there will be those things out there, and again, at Disney Springs and at Magic Kingdom specifically. Also, Mickey's PhilharMagic, one of those wonderful sort of 4D like shows where you get a lot of the scents and smells of classic Disney animated films in it's over there in Fantasyland in Magic Kingdom. It is actually closing down for a refurbishment from October the 11th to November the 11th. So from October 11 to November 11, it will be down for a refurbishment. And this is because they are updating the film just a little bit. They're going to be adding a scene in from the movie Coco, which I'm very, very excited about. If you have never seen Coco, you are missing out. It is one of my favorite modern animated films that is out there. The music is excellent. The color is amazing. The storyline is great. It's a lot of fun too. It just puts a smile on your face and makes you appreciate family a little bit more. So if you haven't seen Coco, definitely go check it out. It's on Disney Plus. Great time of year to watch it as well. So definitely check out Coco. Again, Mickey's PhilharMagic going down for refurbishment briefly for a month from October 11th to November the 11th. Also, Disney's All-Star Sports Resort Hotel is going to have a delayed reopening as they continue a resort hotel kind of wide refurbishment. So they're been updating some of the rooms in that area, but also some of the fixtures there as well. Some of those giant, larger than life pieces that you're used to. They're trying to freshen things up a little bit, make it a little bit more welcome and fresh and inviting. And if you do have a reservation that is booked at Disney's All-Star Sports Resort, you should have already received confirmation or a word from Disney about rebooking that. If you booked it yourself or if you booked with a travel agent, they should be reaching out to you about it. If they have not, definitely reach out to them. If you are one of my clients, and I've already checked to make sure everybody's taken care of that this applies to, so you should be good to go there. Also, Rise of the Resistance, and this is kind of one of the biggies that's popped up over the past week. Rise of the Resistance at Disney's Hollywood Studios is some changing. And this is one of the things that we sort of saw coming eventually, but I think a lot of people maybe this is coming a hair too early, and that is that the virtual queue system, the 7 a.m., 1 p.m. Queue options are going away as of the last day that they're going to be available. It's actually tomorrow, September the 22nd, and on the 23rd, it will go down to a standby line only. So there's a lot of speculation as to what this will mean for Lightning Lane and Genie Plus and the things to come. So we'll see. It would be probably a really good educated guess to say that that Rise of the Resistance will be one of the two attractions available for day of Lightning Lane purchases at Disney's Hollywood Studios, along with maybe Mickey Minnie's Runaway Railway or maybe even Slinky Dog. All those things are gonna depend on the demand, first of all, and what the powers that be, all the Bobs at Disney decide is right for them. So I want to kind of pop over and take a look very briefly at our comment section. Looks like a few of you folks are watching tonight. Thank you so much for hopping on. Would love for you again to share this in your streams so that others can join us along for the ride. So the last piece of Disney news I will mention is this, and this is sort of podcast related, if you will, is that next Tuesday, September the 28th, had to look at the date to make sure I was right. I will actually be on my way to the Walt Disney World Resort as we speak, exactly 1 week from right now. And because of that, we are still going to have a Travel Tips Tuesday, but it'll be a little bit different. And that is we're going to have a re-showing of the last time that I saw Disney's Illuminations Nighttime Spectacular. That was a former Nighttime Spectacular that was replaced by Epcot forever, and then will eventually be replaced by Harmonious that will be debuting on October the 1st, which I hope to be able to see on October the 2nd. And for those of you wondering if I'm going to go live from the parks when I'm down there for the 50th, yes, I will be. But for the nighttime spectacular specifically, I am not going to be live streaming those just because of quality. I want to make sure what I capture is good, and we will have a restream of those eventually. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to seeing all the things in a week or so and being able to report back. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a lot of folks down there celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Walt Disney World Resort, and I'm so happy to be able to join some of my friends along the way. So if you're going to be there for the Walt Disney World Resort 50th anniversary celebration, those last few days of September and first few days of October, we'll love to say, hey, please shout me out and let me know you are around. So tonight's topic is this. Actually, we're just on our question of the day. There we go. Hollywood, 1939. Hollywood, 1939. Amid the glitz and the glitter of a bustling young movie town at the height of its golden age, the Hollywood Tower Hotel was a star in its own right. Sorry. Kind of going back to my days as a bellhop just a little bit. There was one day, quick story time, cast member story time. There was one day when I was a bellhop at the Tower of Terror, which is right there at the foot, it's the weenie, the icon for Sunset Boulevard, that part of Disney's Hollywood Studios. There was one day when I was kind of rotating through the different stations and different areas, and I got stuck in the library scene. So the sort of pre-show area, the queue kind of winds its way through the sort of outside garden, dilapidated garden area, and then sort of through the breezeway outside, and then into the lobby of this hotel where it's all, dusty and old, and, creepy bellhops that are there directing you into the library. And you go into the library and you get stuck in there. There's a video that pops on that's Rod Serling, and a voiceover kind of brings you into the theme, brings you into the story of the Hollywood Tower Hotel, and lets you know about that. So one day I was actually in there, and due to reasons beyond that I fully understand, I was actually stuck in that library scene for over 2 hours, hearing the same short, couple minute long video for 2 hours straight. And it eventually got resolved, but I memorized that. I memorized that spiel, let's just say, and occasionally we'll bust that out as I'm walking up there just for old time's sake. Anyway, it's a lot of fun. We'll talk about the Tower of Terror in just a minute, but I wanted to go ahead and get started and talk about Sunset Boulevard, talk about why this is such an amazing part of Disney's Hollywood Studios. So Sunset Boulevard specifically was not, the vision of it was sort of there, right? It was sort of being talked about, but it wasn't part of the opening day excitement of the then Disney-MGM Studios. So eventually they felt the need to expand it because they wanted to add more to it, right? There were some things that were going on, some attractions, a great movie ride. They had the Indiana Jones stunt show, spectacular. Eventually Star Tours open, and they had some other things kind of scattered about. There's a lot of live entertainment there as well around that time. So, and of course, they actually had working studios there on site, hence the studios part of the name. And there are actually several animated features that were produced there and several other shows and whatnot. So along the years, all that to say is eventually they kind of decided, okay, we need a little bit something more for this area. So they expanded it and opened Sunset Boulevard. And we're going to take a look at some of the attractions and dining and even a little bit of shopping along the way. So let's start off with the attractions. I think that's one of the most exciting parts. One of the first, I think the first roller coaster, maybe the only roller coaster thus far that actually inverts at Walt Disney World, meaning goes upside down at Walt Disney World indoors, is Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. Now, this attraction has been through couple of slight variations through the years, but for the most part, it hasn't really changed a whole lot. The pre-show has changed a little bit, as those of you that are well-versed Disney parks historians may know, is that the pre-show, it kind of includes a video that sort of looks like a working sound studio, and it used to have a guy that actually came out and grabbed the Les Paul and then, walked out, sort of a roadie kind of guy. And then you kind of exit through the sound stage, and you're sort of in this back alley, and you hop in your super stretched limousine that takes you onto the show. And there are speakers that are well placed right next to your head to sort of give you some rock and Aerosmith's tunes along the way. has a launch system that catapults you straight out to top speed, and you're going upside down straight into one of those inverts. Again, it's inside. It's just so much fun. It's a fun coaster. You will leave with a smile on your face. There's just sort of an energy. Like if you're at Disney and it's later in the day and you're looking for a way to wake up, and you're like, yeah, Tower of Terror is not my jam, go on Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. It's a ton of fun, and you will absolutely love it. It's a great, great roller coaster, and one of my favorites at the Walt Disney World Resort. There's also Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy. Now, this is kind of the newest attraction really to the Sunset Boulevard area, and this is located just past Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith. In fact, if you're looking for it, you have to walk down Sunset, hang a left towards Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, and it's down around the right behind it. If you went to the Star Wars weekends from yesteryear, it is right smack where the Darth's Mall, Mall or Maul, as the case may be, the main sort of shopping area back in the day for Star Wars weekends was back there. So definitely check that out. Those two attractions, Lightning McQueen's Racing Academy, is definitely a fun one. It's just sort of a little show that's life-size, animated, fully animated and moving and talking reproduction of Lightning McQueen is out there, and it kind of takes you through a little story, and it's lighthearted, and it's a great show for the kids for sure. There's also the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. Now, we won't park here for too long because we did a couple of episodes for episode 100 and 101 with former Disney Imagineer McNair Wilson, who was one of the key Imagineers that had a role in the design sort of concept process of the Tower of Terror from the beginning. If you've seen the Behind the Attraction show on Disney Plus, they don't mention McNair's name at all, but trust me, there are a lot of people involved in this. McNair was in a lot of those meetings with Michael Eisner and even Mel Brooks, director Mel Brooks, and several others. That's one of the reasons why the Tower of Terror had this nickname called Hotel Mel for a little while, and there are all sorts of different variations. So go back and Travel Tips Tuesday to episode 100 and 101, and definitely check those out. You can learn a little bit more about the history behind it and what all it's involved in that attraction. It's revolutionary in a lot of different ways, with the elevator system that not only just kind of drops you boop and then kind of go back up and drops you again. That's kind of what the system that's out in California does. That is now the Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout attraction that was the Tower of Terror there for a little while. But essentially what's different, if you're a Disneyland person, if you've never been to Walt Disney World, what's different about this one is that the elevator actually rides up and you come out of the shaft and you kind of move around, and then you drop again. And it doesn't you don't just drop. There's a separate elevator motor. There's two. There's one at the top, there's one at the bottom. There's a second one that actually pulls you down faster than the acceleration due to gravity. Completely random drop sequence, and it's a pretty cool thing. It's a lot of fun. Again, it'll wake you up. If you don't like this kind of attractions, fine, I get it, but it's definitely fun. If you like those thrill attractions, then it's definitely one to check it out. The theming is excellent. The stories are excellent. If you catch the bellhops on a bright day, you smile at them nicely. They might let you behind the stanchions out into the lobby, maybe even behind the front desk for a picture if you're lucky. That doesn't happen a lot, but you can always ask and see what they say. So definitely an attraction to check out. The Twilight Zone is, of course, really the park icon for Disney's Hollywood Studios right now. You'll see that on a lot of different, merchandise and all the things and park maps and all that kind of stuff. It is, they do a projection show around the holidays season for it. So definitely a fun place just to go and see. Like, even if you don't want to go on that attraction, or you don't want to go on Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, go through the queue lines, check out the detail. And there is a way to exit before you get on the attraction itself. You can always do that if you want, but just the detail of those queues are pretty solid. So definitely some great attractions. I could talk for a very, very long time about it, but we're not going to do that tonight. So let's check it out, see what's going on here. Awesome, cool. A lot of y'all are commenting along the way. Cool. Let's see who's on tonight. Jen says, good evening, John. Hello, Jen. Good to see you. Hope you are doing well. Amy is on. Hello, Amy. Nice to see you on tonight. Jen says she's going to be there. Jen, it would be fun to run into you as well. Amy brings up a great question. How long is the 50th anniversary at Disney going? So officially, the official length of the celebration is 18 months. So So great, a year and a half basically. So if you're looking for some of the fun Disney merch or the fun Disney things, officially the show Enchantment, which was brought on for Disney's 50th anniversary, will be running for 18 months, and you'll see a lot of the different iridescent theme, which is that sort of purplish, bluish, goldish, rose goldish hue that you see on a lot of different things on the 50th anniversary costumes, and even some of the merchandise and some of the signage and promotional stuff come with the castle was painted in a way, sort of changes colors with the sunlight a little bit, but it's that'll be around for a while. So if you're not able to go, within that first month, I mean, going within that first month, being there on October the 1st is something special for sure. But if you're not able to be there those first few moments, don't sweat it. They'll be doing a lot of those things for a little while to come. So, but being there in the fall with the 50th anniversary going on, or even soon thereafter during the holiday season, Thanksgiving, Christmas, that time of year, will be pretty special as well, I imagine. So definitely want to check that out as they continue to bring more and more things. Jen actually answered that 18 months, but officially starts October the 1st. Again, our question of the day, if you're just popping on, is this: name your favorite nighttime spot in Walt Disney World. And my buddy Matt Appleby, who I'm assuming has finished his show for tonight. This is probably one of the best answers out there. Trader Sam's. Thank goodness Trader Sam's is back open at the Polynesian Village Resort. This is kind of that classic Disney nighttime spot situation. You can bring kids into it. I think it's until maybe like 4 o'clock. There's a time frame in there, but I want to say it's like early mid ish afternoon, somewhere in there when it opens. You can bring kids in there to see it and that kind of thing. But after a certain point in the early evening, late afternoon, it does become an adults only venue. So cool stuff, y'all. Thank you so much for commenting. I would love to hear from you if you have a answer to our question of the day right here, which is: name your favorite nighttime spot in Walt Disney World. I'm going to be sharing some of mine here in just a little bit. So we talked about the attractions. Let's talk about our next favorite topic at Walt Disney World at Sunset Boulevard over at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and that is dining. We love to eat some food while we're around there. Now, when we think about dining at Disney's Hollywood Studios, we might think about 50s Primetime Cafe, or we might think about the Sci-Fi Dine-In Theater. We might think about the Brown Derby. We might think about ABC Commissary or Woody's Lunchbox. But Sunset Boulevard has a lot of dining options for you. It's definitely one of the better places to go to grab something quick. If you're more comfortable these days eating outdoors, there's plenty of outdoor seating over at the Sunset Ranch Market. The Sunset Ranch Market, which has several, one, two, three, four kind of places to grab different types of bites over that way. It's sort of covered as you're walking up to the Hollywood Tower Hotel or the Tower of Terror. It's on your left. It's right past most of the stores on your left, across from the entrance to the Beauty and the Beast show that's there. There is over at the Sunset Ranch Market, there's Anaheim Produce, which is sponsored by Cuties. It's an official sort of sponsor of it. Cuties are those little small, like mandarin, orange things. So they'll have those there. They'll have other types of fruit and things available, and just some bottled drinks, I believe, over that way. Just real quick way to walk in, pick something up if you're just kind of looking for something to kind of pick you up on the go. Great spot there at the Sunset Ranch Market. There's also Rosie's All-American Cafe. This is your quintessential place for burgers and dogs. It's not the official Disney explanation, but if you're looking for a theme park cheeseburger, hamburger, or hot dog of some sort, you can definitely get those there. There are a few different sort of variations slightly there that are available as well. And at some of these places over at the Sunset Ranch Market, they do have some of the seasonal treats available. So the Halloween themed items that you'll see out there, the frozen apple cider sort of things, little different types of cupcakes, and maybe even some different type cookies that are available. You'll see some of those things over that way. But again, Rosie's All-American Cafe has burgers, dogs, and this is kind of ish random. So they always try to cater to, different types of, allergies and food options like vegetarians. There is a plant-based lobster roll that is available at Rosie's All-American Cafe. Now, I don't eat, as you may know, I don't eat lobster because I'm allergic to shellfish. Even this does not sound that appetizing to me personally, but that's just me. The plant-based lobster, by the way, is made up of hearts of palm, of course, seasoned and sauced and all that kind of stuff. So if you've had that, would love to know. what you think. We'd love to know what you think of it. Anyway, would you eat a plant-based lobster roll? Just generally speaking, just curious. Moving onward, this has a little bit better news, I think, for some of us, the Fairfax Fair. Now, if you are familiar with the history of Disney parks, at one point in time, there used to be a more direct relationship, actually, more direct relationship between Walt Disney World and McDonald's, aside from just allowing one of their locations to be on property. So there used to be the ability to be able to get McDonald's fries in the parks. There's a location at every single theme park, and the location for Disney's Hollywood Studios, or MGM back in the day, was Fairfax Fries. That is now Fairfax Fair. Now, they have different types of hot dogs there now. So they're no longer the McDonald's fries things, but what they have there are these different types of gourmet-ish hot dogs. So if you like hot dogs, but you want to kick it up a notch, this is the place to go. And this is just one of the examples. There's lots of examples that they have there, but this is just one of them. They have, I'm going to say this twice just so you don't miss it. They have a truffle bacon, macaroni, and cheese hot dog. I'll repeat that again. They have a truffle bacon, macaroni, and cheese hot dog that has 1, 2, 3, 4 things in it and just one name that I know I will like. So that's like one of those things where you look at, you're like, that sounds amazing. I'm going to need a knife and fork for that. So we'll be curious if you've had that. I may have to try that next time around. So we'll see. But anyway, the truffle bacon macaroni and cheese hot dog sounds pretty amazing. So Jen is from New England, and she actually says a plant-based lobster roll is sacrilegious. So yeah. I went to New England once and got to go to Maine as a child and kind of tour around. And we went to one of these restaurants that kind of sit on the water. I can't remember where specifically in Maine. I think it was outside Portland somewhere. Anyway, and my family kind of walked down the dock and into this sort of dockside restaurant, and they were looking at the tanks that had all the lobsters in them. And this is, a travel memory from like, 20 plus years ago. And everybody was like, I want that. My sister was like, I want that lobster. My brother was like, Mom, Dad, like, I want that lobster. I want that lobster over there. And my parents like turned around and looked at me. They're like, oh wait, my kid can't eat shellfish. So we were like looking at the menu, and there's a 16-ounce T-bone. They had a 16-ounce T-bone steak that was on the menu, and I had that, and I ate every single last bit of it. It was absolutely amazing. Great steak. So don't feel bad for me if you do that I can't eat shellfish or lobster or crab or shrimp or any of that kind of stuff. I do love a good steak. Fourthly, over at the Sunset Ranch Market over at Sunset Boulevard, this is your last option for food over that way. That is the Hollywood Scoops ice cream. So there's a good ice cream shop at every park. This is the one for Disney's Hollywood Studios. There's a few places to get ice cream around, but this is like the place to go if you want your classic like hand scooped ice cream experience. Hollywood Scoops, definitely a great tasty treat to cool off. If you've got a sweet tooth, check it out. It's good ice cream. Been there before, had it many times. Straight up in a waffle cone, give me a couple of scoops, and I am good to go. I'm a cookies and cream kind of guy. Mint chocolate chip will do in a pinch. That's kind of where I'm at as far as ice cream goes. Moving forward past the Sunset Ranch Market area over toward Rock and Roller Coaster starring Aerosmith, there's the KRNR, the Rock Station, and they have, and this is just sort of like a little, it's not really a kiosk. It's more of a food, sort of a larger food cart area that they have set up. It's a permanent fixture there, and they have a lot of frozen things for you. So it's kind of tucked back there a little bit. There's, every time I've been by, there hasn't really been much of a line, but I think that's because a lot of people don't know it's there. So if you want a frozen lemonade, so one of like the quintessential theme park things, and Walt Disney World is definitely not your quintessential theme park experience, I don't think. But if you want that frozen lemonade, if that's like something you like, that's where you want to go. At Disney's Hollywood Studios is right over there to KRNR, the Rock Station. Definitely check out your frozen lemonade. Sounds delicious. And last but not least, over around Sunset Boulevard is Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company. So yes, there is a Starbucks location on the main drag at each park at Walt Disney World, but they also have Joffrey's Coffee and Tea, which is a great option for you. The lines there are generally not quite as long as they are at the Starbucks, and the coffee is still pretty good. I've had Joffrey's before, and they make a good coffee. So if you just want a regular hot coffee, you're looking for a frozen, frappe, mocha latte, something or other, definitely check it out. It's good. It's not like cheap hotel coffee that they just kind of throw in there to give you your caffeine intake for the day. But it's pretty decent coffee. I would definitely check it out for sure. So awesome stuff, y'all. Cool stuff. So, last thing I want to take a look at over at Disney's Hollywood Studios and Sunset Boulevard is shopping. We all love our shopping experiences, right? I mean, there's always a gift shop. There's a gift shop when you get off Tower of Terror. There's a gift shop when you get off Rock and Roller Coaster, starring Aerosmith. There are gift shops, different types of shops, all the way up as you head towards the attraction. So you got it's kind of funny. It's very well placed. You gotta go past the shops on the way to the attractions. You get out of the attraction, you go out of a shop, and you go past the same shops that you went past on the way in, on the back out. So well played, Disney, to kind of get you to buy stuff. That's a good call there. Alrighty, so there are 4 quick places. I'm just going to give you a quick couple of notes about each of these. But that is first off, it's going to be the Beverly Sunset Boutique. The Beverly Sunset Boutique is right there on Sunset Boulevard. There's also Sunset Ranch pins and souvenirs. So if you remember the Sorcerer's hat at Disney's Hollywood Studios or Disney-MGM, it's a I don't know, was a hotly contested subject. Underneath the Sorcerer's hat was a pin trading station. That's where they had the pin set up, and you can go and buy and trade pins up under the hat when it was there. I loved the hat. I thought it was great. I miss it. Yes, you kind of got a better view of the theater, view of the theater and everything. But like when you went in Disney's Hollywood Studios, you knew that was a park icon. I have heard other podcasters say this recently, other friends say this, and I agree. Like, I love the hat. I've got some of my most favorite pictures, like from my honeymoon and other years, were right in front of that Sorcerer's hat. I miss it, but you can still get pins. That's where the pins were there that time. The pins now are over at Sunset Ranch Pins and Souvenirs at right there on Sunset Boulevard. Also, there's Once Upon a Time in Legends of Hollywood. Legends of Hollywood is sort of that more upper end shopping establishment at Disney Hollywood Studios. If you're looking for the Kate Spade branded purses or handbags, shoulder strap bags, stuff like that, some of the, Dooney and Burke items, stuff like that, that's where they're going to be at that park if they are available, because some of those things are seasonal. Sometimes they're limited runs, and you never know what's going to be in there. So definitely check that out. I've been in there before. The place is pristine. A lot of great merchandise, a lot of great help. If you're looking for something specific, they can definitely help you out if it's not there. Just like the great thing I love about Disney is that they won't just kind of leave you up the creek if it's just happened to be out. Especially if you get the right cast member, you say, hey, I'm looking for this particular item. They will figure out a way to find it if they've got it. They will search their merchandising systems. They'll make phone calls if they have to, and let you know where it can be found. If it's at a hotel, if it's at Disney Springs, if it's in a park, they'll find those items for you. And that's not just for the upper end merchandise. That's pretty much for any little item that you're looking for. But I will say this about some of the seasonal items and the 50th anniversary merch that you will see. Merch, short for merchandise, that you will see around. If you see something that you like, buy it. If you see something that you like, go ahead and buy it. Then, if you like it enough. Now, there are some things like the plushes and some of the pins and that are not seasonal items, and some of the other, sort of generic branded, buy 2 for 30 or 40, whatever it is, special kind of shirts that you'll see around. They'll be in multiple different places. But there are some things that are special. Like if it really means something to you, go ahead and buy that, because I can tell you the number of times I've gone around. We'll make our list. We'll take pictures of the barcodes and who wants what and those kind of things. Make our shopping list, and we'll come back at the end of the day, and it's gone. It's not there anymore. So one of my favorite Disney neckties that I have. You don't see a lot of these around anymore. But one of my favorite Disney neckties that I have was I think a 40th anniversary Epcot tie. And I've still got it. It's blue. It's a giant Mickey head on the bottom of it. Sort of the classic Walt Disney World D. That's kind of sort of a pattern on it. And I saw that tie in Magic Kingdom, and I was like, we'll go back at the end of the day and find it and buy it, whatever. So it wasn't there, but I found a cast member that discovered it was over at Coronado Springs. And on our way out on that particular trip, we got in the car and we drove over to Coronado Springs, and sure enough, there it was. And I purchased it, and we moved on from there. So lots of great Disney merch that's coming out, and the Disney merch, generally speaking, is pretty decent quality. So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. We did an episode, I don't know, on Travel Tips Tuesday a while back about shopping in the parks. It's been a while, so maybe we need to do that again someday. So anyway, awesome stuff. So So RJ, my buddy RJ McCarley, who's a West Coast friend, he lives within a stone's throw of Disneyland. He says, "Hey John, you were a cast member on Tower of Terror, so you know that ride." Yes, I do know that ride well. Do they still have pin trading there at Disney's Hollywood Studios? So, Jen, great question. So, pin trading is kind of one of those things that's hit or miss. If you see cast members that are wearing pins, still you can, they're obligated to stop with you. But as far as I know, right now they still have the socially distant pin trading options available, where they have different pin boards out. Occasionally, they're not out all the time, but when they do, the pin boards will be out. And there's a little bucket where you take your pin off your lanyard or whatever you've got your pins on in a book, and you'll drop it in the bucket, and then they will take the one off, and then give it to you, put it on the table or whatever, and give it to you, and you kind of trade them that way and move on. So there is still pin trading available, and it's just kind of hit or miss where you're going to find it and see it. And those locations do vary a little bit. Sometimes they get moved around some. So if you are a pin trader, what I would do is just ask the cast members when you get there, say, hey, where's pin trading happening today? What time, and they should be able to find out. If the cast member you talk to doesn't know, ask them if they can find out. If they still don't, if they don't, if they don't, give you an answer that you like, you can always go to guest relations, and they can usually tell you pretty quickly. So I want to go ahead and take a look back at our question of the day one more time before we close out for tonight. And I want to give you a couple of reminders. Our question of the day was, name your favorite nighttime spot at Disney's Hollywood. Name your favorite nighttime spot at Walt Disney World specifically, so not just at Disney's Hollywood Studios. So let's take a look at our main feed here. I'm just going to give you first names for folks here, and then my friend Brian says, in front of the castle, waiting for the fireworks, of course, definitely a classic spot indeed. Also, Audrey says Main Street or the rear area, or the area near Rapunzel's Tower. So she's got a great point. So Rapunzel's Tower, the Rapunzel bathrooms, people know about Rapunzel's stuff for the bathrooms, but it's got a tower, right, that's back there that's lit up, where you might have seen people have these photos with photo pass photographers with these, holding the lanterns from Rapunzel. That's where that happens, kind of back there, tucked in the corner of Fantasyland before you go sort of the divide between the Fantasyland and Liberty Square area that's over there by Haunted Mansion. It's kind of tucked back there a little bit right before you go into the spot where Haunted Mansion is from Fantasyland. So definitely check that out. Fantasmic for sure. Jen loves Fantasmic. I love Fantasmic as well. Fantasmic sometimes, it doesn't get all the love I think it should, but it is a great show. It's a complicated show. The storyline, depending on who you talk to, may or may not make sense. But there's a lot of really good effects. It's a crowd pleaser for sure. I will say, having seen Fantasmic on the East Coast at Walt Disney World and having seen it at Disneyland in California, very different experiences. And the one in Disneyland has a slight edge to it because it's almost, it's not this grand, 8,000 seat amphitheater. But in Disneyland in California, it's actually done on Tom Sawyer's Island. And the area around it is kind of transferred into somewhat of a standing room, and there's a seating sort of area for it. And it's just a different experience. And it's the same general music, the soundtrack's slightly different, but it's more upfront. Like you feel like you're closer to it in a lot of ways. And absolutely love Fantasmic. Jonathan says World Showcase, China, right near the water. I'm a big fan of World Showcase also at night, especially anywhere near those giant a torch burning fires that they've got going on. Love World Showcase. It's just a real picturesque spot. I believe David says the Mexico Pavilion. Nate says, I'm going to say Disney Springs, lots of food, beverage, and entertainment options, definitely for sure. Mackenzie says Coronado Springs on the Three Bridges with fresh churros. Ooh, that sounds amazing. I could go for a fresh churro for sure, man. That sounds great. I'm going to have to get one of those as we go next time around. So again, thank you all so much for joining me for Travel Tips Tuesday. Just as a reminder, said this up front, next week we will not have a live show, but we will have a re-showing of Illuminations. The last time I saw Illuminations, Reflections of Earth, the sound's pretty decent on it, and the video's okay. There's kind of like this one spot where where there's like a pole there briefly, but we adjust the camera a little bit, and you even get some crowd reactions that I think are pretty awesome too. Great memory, and I loved Illuminations. I know there are some people out there that don't like Illuminations that much. If you don't, you're wrong. Just saying. That's just me. I don't know, but we can talk about it later. But I love the Illumination soundtrack. I've got it in my car right now. So hope you enjoy viewing that, and please, comment on that, share that when that is on. This will only be a live thing. I'm not going to show Illuminations on podcast because, well, there's, this is primarily an audio-based podcast, aside from we do it live on Facebook and YouTube. So anyway, thank you all so much for joining me on Travel Tips Tuesday. We can't wait to talk to you again during the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.